Hi, welcome to Event Ready Podcast, where we talk about our roller coaster ride of being a live event artist.
If you're a painter, calligrapher, or illustrator, this podcast is for you because we're about to uncover the secrets, the stories, and the struggles of the industry.
And we're your hosts. I'm Talisa.
And I'm Isabel.
Okay, welcome to season 3.
3! We're
Can you-
back.
I can't believe we've recorded this much.
Uh, that's 20 episodes.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That
This
is
is
a
the
lot.
21st episode.
The weeks that we have invested in this. Months.
Right?
Oh
And
my
we still have a
God.
lot. We still have a lot that we want to talk about.
I want to say we have like at least 10 outstanding documents that we are working on all the time.
And it keeps adding up. Every time we talk about something, we're like, "Oh, this is a good idea for like a podcast."
Put it in the doc. Put it in the doc.
Yeah, and then that's what our group chat is always about. Like, we need to talk about this, and then we keep adding and adding more like documents and documents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we never stop talking to each other. It's quite embarrassing.
um. uh, So you might like probably wondering, where is Michelle? Oh no. Okay. So
Spill us the tea on Michelle.
So we have a tea on Michelle. So Michelle is currently on mat leave. So yeah. So she's taking a break. She's gonna return whenever she's ready. We'll be excited to welcome her back. But right now she's, resting, being a new mom. And so yeah, don't forget to congratulate her if you haven't.
Congratulations, Michelle.
Okay, going back to business.
What's our topic about today?
So today we're gonna talk about rehirability.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Isabel, spill the tea.
Okay. Well, in order to get consistently booked, you absolutely cannot afford to focus on chasing new leads all the time. Your goal is to be rehired. And that goes through a couple of ways, but can get rehired by the same client over and over. So for example, if a brand that you've worked with, that you've worked on site for, or non-retail corporations have hired you for a private event or something like that, and they hire you again for another event. So if you're not rehired by the same client, you can also get rehired by working through a referral. And that can come through a few different ways, through the existing networks that you've built with event planners, PR agencies, wedding planners, and of course, other artists in your community, in your network, or your literal local market. And of course, your existing clients that's hired you can also refer you to another client. So
Yeah, and I think that's definitely a way to make sure to get that like sustainability in your career as a live event artist is definitely by that's how being consistently booked is about. It's interesting. I was looking at the data from my 2024 events. I was like looking at how many clients, like how many jobs that I got that was like new clients versus like a repeat clients. And about 72% was repeat clients.
that is like a landslide. That is astonishing. That they are repeat clients, like 3/4 of your work.
Literally. And the ones that are new, I didn't track this because they usually told me later that like it was like a referral. It was like, oh, we heard you from someone so and so, and gave us your contact. I didn't even track that. So some of the new ones are also referrals. So if I were to compile referral plus repeat clients, I would say that might be like at the 80 or even 90%.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what's really funny about that? That you just said that. I've had one time, because clients want to feel like they found you first, like they found you themselves, right?
Yeah.
So like I worked at an event once, and I was like, oh yeah, like it's really nice that blah 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 introduced us, and she was like, no, I googled you first, and then he gave me your name, and I was like, oh, I see.
They want to keep, you don't want to, it's like their accountability. Like,
I know
I
that
got her first.
yeah, it's like I searched her, and then somebody corroborated. Okay, it's fine. So they filled out the form as if it was like a fresh thing, but later I did find out that it was a referral.
So you had to like change your form. It's like, oh, it's a referral.
I was like, that's a referral, but thank you.
No, I think that's like amazing. And then there's so many, we're gonna talk about our like, we're gonna elaborate more with the examples that we've had in the past, being a live event artist, doing different things, both calligraphy and also illustrator. Yeah, so let's elaborate more on what it means, or like, like any analogies, or like, so that people can understand what it means by being rehired.
Yes,
Like
and
rehired.
I love a good analogy. Like when we first thought about this topic and just through our like chatting, I just like spitballed this idea. I was like, what if it's like a traditional job where like you're 20 and you've got no experience. You have education, but you have no working experience, right? And so
Mhm.
you're like, okay, here's my resume. I'm going to apply to a whole bunch of different jobs that I feel like I qualify for. And then you just hope just to get an interview, just hope to talk to somebody, right?
Mhm.
And that I feel like was very similar to when we first started working on site. Like the first few jobs, you're like, I know how to do this, but like I've never done it in front of people before. I've never done it live before. I've never done it on site. And so you're like trying to get these in-person jobs and trying to make a good impression, right?
Mhm.
But later on, like once you've done the job, you've had work experience, years and years later, once you've reached a certain point in your career, you're hoping to get in a place where like you're in a position of strength, like you're being headhunted for jobs, like you're getting messages on your email or your LinkedIn, and it's just like, oh, I think you'd be really good fit for this job, or like I think you could do well over here, and like people want you, not like
Yeah.
you're searching to get a job somewhere else. You're not doing the looking. People are
Mhm.
looking at you, trying to scoop you, right?
Mhm.
So I feel like that's like a really good analogy for our industry, because we are working towards that all the time. Like our goal is to be sought after. We want to be looked for, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, like she's doing some like really cool stuff for this brand and that brand. Like I want that. Like we want that. And
We found
so
her.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, like the goal is to get those referrals and leads to come and find you. Um, Instead of like, 10 years into your career and you're still knocking door to door, like, hey, like, do you have a job for me? Like, hey, do you guys do any events? And like you're 5-10 years into the gig, you shouldn't be looking. You
Mhm.
shouldn't be trying to convince people to hire you for a job. The goal is to not do that, because
Mhm.
you want to, like you said earlier, make
Mhm.
this sustainable. Live event art is very time consuming already and physically demanding. The time
Mhm.
that you have at home should be used for resting and practicing, not like
Mhm.
actively pitching and marketing. Like this, it's a lot of work.
Mhm.
So we want that work to be done
Yeah.
without our effort.
Yeah. And I think the only time that it's okay to outreach, like if you're some, like, you have new skills, or you have like skills that you've already had and you wanted to add that in your service, that's okay. But if you've been doing it for like 5 years and you still need to, actively search in the area where there's like high demand, then that's a sign that there's something that
Change.
you need to change, you need to like
Yeah.
amend, right? And in
And
so
yeah, oh, I was just gonna say, like, and we see it. We're starting to see it in our community of
Mhm.
artists where people are getting burned out, or people are getting tired, or people are just getting bored of like trying so hard, or like putting all this effort and like not getting anywhere. Or, they are getting jobs from time to time, but it feels like they're just not getting that like momentum to build where
Mhm.
it can be like they can see themselves doing more of this job for the next 5 years. They can't even really foresee what this year is going to look like or the next year, right? um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's frustrating.
Yeah, no, I
So
can.
maybe something needs to change
Yeah.
or needs to be reviewed. I don't know.
Yeah, it's time to reflect. What is it that, like, maybe that's something that you need to change, which is on to the next subject. Like, let's talk about like the three things that we feel that are very important in being able to be rehired, to meet that rehirability factors. So first one would be proficiency. Listen, you can market any way you want. At the end of the day, it's the quality of your work, whether it is calligraphy or painting or sketching. Like, it comes first. At the end of the day, they want to look at your quality. So
Hmm.
yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things that like um if like you said, the marketing gets you in the door, right? You're pitching or you're door to door knocking, like whatever. You finally got your foot in the door. Okay, great. And then now what? Right? Once you get in the door and you don't make like a bang, like a great impression,
Mhm.
then like that was for nothing. Like you got in the door for nothing. And that's like that skill and quality, it needs to like wow them, and that's what's going to get you the next
Job.
job. That's what's going to establish you as like, oh my god, like she knows what she's doing, like she's the expert in the room.
Mhm.
um we better just listen to her. Like that's what you want. um Instead of like, oh, I like happen to get in here, but I like not quite sure what I'm doing here. Like
Mhm.
that's just like not the that's not the vibe we want.
No, yeah, exactly. Because it's like, that you don't want them to be disappointed too, right? Like it's like, like you're like a real traditional job. You get interviewed and everything, and then when you're doing the job, oh, so you can't really perform what we ask you to do.
That
And
is such a good example because people do that. Like people get impressed at interviews. And
yeah,
then like week one of the job, it's like, whoa, like you don't know how to print a document? Like it's like, huh? Like how did we get here? It's like the overpromise and underdeliver
yeah,
problem.
exactly.
You don't want to underwhelm anybody.
Yeah. So like the goal isn't really about getting jobs anymore. The goal is to be rehired. That's the goal. That's your goal if you want to make this career work.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And for you not to hate it, because if it's gonna get you like bring you to a level where you're having to spend all this effort trying to get the next job, trying to get the next job, like it will stress you out.
It will. It'll burn you out. I don't think, like, to be honest, I probably personally I've only pitched the first year, and it wasn't even that much pitching. Like, I probably like sent a bunch of like a few emails and visited new like some stores. But that's it. And then I just kind of stopped doing that because I felt like, okay.
Me
um
too. And that's not to say that like all pitching is bad. Like you said, you like when you're trying to hit the ground running, it's like you're trying to get that initial momentum. Of course, like you have to put some legwork into it.
yeah.
um but yeah, I also pitched to no avail. Like
Yeah.
it honestly, it worked, of course, like a fraction of the time, but the effort that you have to put in it is just like I can imagine I can't imagine if I were feeling the pressure to do that still. I
Yeah.
think that would be very discouraging.
I think I would feel like maybe this isn't for me. I'm not saying that you should stop, but I feel like, I think that's something that you need to reflect on. Maybe it's not, the marketing, maybe it's the proficiency. Like maybe
Mhm.
you need to have a better portfolio, maybe you kind of need to do that and then like show it in a way where potential client can see what you can produce. And
Mhm.
and again, like we've said this over and over again, that like when it comes to live event artistry, they look at quality and speed. So those two are like the most important thing when it comes to
Mhm.
performing this type of art.
Yeah. And
So,
it's almost like a mathematical equation, you know, like if you can do like this like top tier quality with like top tier speed, it's like it puts you so far above everyone who can maybe do that quality but at a lower speed,
yeah,
or like a worse quality that's really fast. Like it once you can balance those two things and constantly get better on both ends, then it's like you will become very hard to beat. Like you need to like improve on those two things. And um yeah, I really like that you mentioned speed, because like I know it's 2025. Like nobody wants to wait for anything. It's just a matter of like how fast can you do it? How fast can you do it?
yeah,
How long is this going to take? Of course they want the thing, but they also want it fast. Like it's just always two things that you have to balance.
yeah,
And that is just like that's just a skill thing. You just have to work at it. Um,
yeah.
yeah.
I've had like a few clients, you know, saying comments, like, saying like, not about me, but like he was basically saying, oh, it's not Mona Lisa, like it shouldn't take you like half an hour to do a painting, a simple that supposedly you could simplify it on a bottle or like on a product that's like only $50, like they really want you to do as much as you can, but also not reducing the quality. So there are ways to do that, and that's that requires a lot of practice. Like you have to be able to
Mhm.
practice, whether doing engraving, like when it comes to engraving, um you don't want to have to like look at a font and then like you need to be good at calligraphy first, so then to make it like so then you can be fast. Or like you don't want to use like a guidance like that's like that'll slow you down by drawing like the angle lines and then the the X height, like that is going to slow you down. Or like when it comes to drawing full body figure, you
Mhm.
want to know like intuitively where to add the lines and then the weight and all that, and then to make sure that it still looks like
Yes.
proportionate.
Yeah.
um right.
Completely. Yeah. Um, And the thing is, it's like we don't want you to hear it the wrong way by hearing that drawing an X side is bad or drawing angle lines is bad or whatever it is. Like it's not about that. It's about being able to sacrifice small marginal things to get like an overall quicker result that you haven't sacrificed like the overall quality for. So it's
Mhm.
like if you take out those X height lines, will people be able to tell that like the A is slightly taller than the E? Like, does that matter? Like these are the things that when you're operating at like what you should be an expert level, this is something that like, okay, that minor thing is not going to matter. What will matter is a typo, right? Like what are the things that you can sacrifice and what are the things that you can't sacrifice still to produce like a stellar result. Like that's what's really important. I feel like the higher level you try to like improve on these things, the more you let go of those like perfectionist details. That's like that doesn't matter. It's like drafting, right? Like
Mhm.
for engraving. If you have to go fast, if you have to, do 100 of them at this event, like, are you going to pencil draft them all? Of course I could, but am I going to? Will that matter if I do 100 and make one mistake on one cup and I use an extra one? Is that a problem? It's not. So it's like, these are the things that we got to judge and just like make that call and be confident, and to be able to execute that. But speaking of referencing fonts, because we're just coming off the heels of Lunar New Year events, I have seen where it's like, if we're not incredibly fluent in Chinese, or you're doing Chinese calligraphy, it can be very complicated if you haven't practiced a certain character. Needing to like pull out your phone and look up a word for like reference, like stuff like this comes back to proficiency and skill. It's like, is that really a problem? Maybe not, but appearance wise, impression wise, like, you just need to like exude expertise, and like referencing is not exuding expertise.
It's not in the like in a luxury setting too. It does not look good. Like, you're being hired as an expert, which is very is a good segue to like, we talk about like the process. So we talk about proficiency is one of the rehirability factors. The next one is process. Like what you said, like the process of, I'm not talking only just about the process when you're on site, but the process from the very beginning, from like discovery, like inquiry, discovery, to like, discussing, and then being on site until like the very end, all of that process. But like, I think it's really important, like what Isabel, like what you said, like you want to have that expert status, like people see you as an expert, you're the only one who knows how to draw, you're the one who knows what can be engraved, what cannot be engraved, you're the one who knows what's feasible or not. And having that communication, very clear communication, so then the expectation is, it's pretty much aligned between you and your clients. And they don't really know much sometimes, but you want to be like super ready with whatever it is that they ask, even if things could be like unexpected. Like if you have a calligraphy job and then you're not sure what type of paper that you're going to be getting, you want to make sure that you bring every single thing that is possible, like that will work on with that paper. Like just bring everything.
And to be honest, like sometimes the clients just don't know. Like a lot of times, these papers or the stationery or these products, like they don't even have it in hand. Like they don't have the answers that you're looking for. So trying to like squeeze that information out of them will not only make it look like you might not know what you're doing, but also it's like being like knowledgeable enough to be flexible, to be like, okay, no, it's fine. Like if it's going to be a greeting card, like in your mind, you already know like what are the potential papers that could show up at your desk. Like it's going to be probably some cotton blend. It might have some
coating,
might have a coating, might be rough, whatever it might be. And you
like
can do a little bit.
Yeah, your ink might feather because of the coating. Like, is there another ink that you can use? Like you may not always have a sumi, you might have to use acrylic, you might have to use an oil base, like you don't know, I don't know, just bring everything.
And like, let's remember, calligraphy supplies are not that complicated. Like you're not bringing 500 options. Like it's not, it doesn't have to be complicated. And I have done a work on site where I didn't use the thing that I really wanted to use because it wasn't suitable. And that's fine. As long as you're there and you have something that works with it, that's what's going to show you as the expert. That's what's going to be like, oh, like she's got this covered. You know, there's like a, I feel like I'm using the phrase balancing act a lot, but it is a balancing act. Like, don't ask too many questions, especially when like the answers are not going to get given to you, get given. So it's like if you can see that the clients are maybe like needing a little bit of direction or needing more of your input, then be the input and just say like, oh, like it's whatever information you have is great, but otherwise I'll just be prepared. And that's what's gonna set you as like, oh, she knows her stuff, she's gonna be prepared. I don't really have all the answers she needs, but like I know I can trust her. And that's priceless.
I think it's so important for whatever challenges that you're gonna face on site or during the process. I think it's so important to be solution minded versus being problem minded, versus being like, oh, this client like don't know what they're talking about. No, like you come up with a solution. Maybe there's some alternative that you can provide. Maybe foiling doesn't work because the leather is like, it's coated. Maybe you can ask for sample, or maybe you always have a backup. Like if foiling doesn't work, maybe you need to bring an acrylic ink to as an alternative on the spot. Like things like that. Like I think you also don't want to freak out when things doesn't work.
Don't panic.
Like, yeah, don't panic and be like, I gotta go home and I don't have this, just overpack things. Like I'd rather overpack than like underpack and be like, I have completely like literally no solution. And then not freak out and just like, okay, let's figure it out, and then what can do, and then like, just be like, and then provide that solution in a very calm manner. Because
it's like you're in the emergency room,
even though in your mind you're like, oh my god, I like want to cry.
Can you imagine if you're a patient and your doctor is freaking out? Like, we can't have that. We can't have that.
No, we cannot.
You gotta be like, this is a problem, but we can solve it. Like, but no, that's a very good point about foiling, because sometimes these things don't come to your local venue until very last minute. Sometimes samples can't be gotten. Sometimes it's just not going to work.
Exactly.
And so
and like I think when it comes to these things, the whole point is like you just want to look like you're very easy to work with, always have solutions, because at the end of the day you want to have this like very positive experience, right? So, and that's why proficiency is so important, because you have experimented many different ways of how to personalize anything with whatever medium that is required, so then you always have a backup.
Yeah, actually that's true, because even if, let's say you get that sample and you've tested it and you're like, I know exactly what voltage to set my wood burner on, I know exactly what foil to use, I know everything, right? And you go on site and then like the plug is, it has a printer plugged into it and your outlet's not working exactly as it does at home or something like that. Like things on site is just like, there are unforeseen factors that can come into play, and you have to just be able to adapt and be like, oh damn, like this doesn't work, maybe I have to change this a little bit. And you just have to have tested that and be comfortable enough to make those adjustments on site, and just be brave enough to be like, hey, like I don't think this scaffolding thing's gonna work, but I've got these acrylic pens or whatever. Like you are prepared to deliver that, and that's gonna be A++, because like you said, being solution minded is it's like it's a really high value because not everybody can
Yes.
do that.
Mhm.
You know, there's a lot of people who can buy the supplies and show up to a job and do a job, but there's not a lot of people who can adapt, show that they're the expert, and
And think
not
on your feet.
not panic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
being able to think on your feet and not panic.
and not blame other people too. You know,
Mhm.
like
Don't ever blame the associates.
no, like it's not.
Uh-huh.
These are the things that yeah, exactly. Yeah, make friends. Once you're there to impress, you're there to do the job. Like definitely you're not there to be like, oh, like, well, if this is this, that's not what I had, this isn't gonna work, then like what's the point of having you?
Yeah.
You're just here to sit here and complain about the circumstances. That doesn't help me.
Yeah.
So you gotta solve their
Like,
problem, and that's the biggest value.
yeah, and you're being paid big, like, a lot of money, so you better deliver. I want to, speaking of process, I want to talk about like the like overtime or the possibility of going overtime, because I know this happens a lot, right? To at events where you're like suddenly you have like, this usually happens in store where the volume of customer is very, very unpredictable. Like suddenly everybody wants it at last like 2 hours or something, or like they didn't know, it's like the first time they're doing an activation and they didn't realize that it was in such a high demand. Like how are you going
Mhm.
to manage that? So managing your time is also a process thing. So like for example, this is a real example where I did a painting, a pet portrait painting on a leather bag. Obviously, that takes longer. Like per bag is like 45 minutes. Because of, pet portrait. It's like it requires some details, right? But then I actually I communicated that with my client that like it takes about 45 minutes per bag. But like obviously that is not always communicated to the associates. Right? It never does. Um
Or the associates heard it, but they decided to
but
not.
yeah, there's too many associates. Like, oh,
Yeah.
so right. So you kind of have to communicate that again. And sometimes it's suddenly like, they keep like trying to sell that. That's a selling point, right? To have that complimentary pet portrait guy. That's huge value, right?
Mhm.
And then he got popular and popular, and then like, but then you're only booked for like say 5 hours, and then you can only do so much, right? And what do you do? And you obviously first need to communicate with the associates. I would say you probably want to communicate that not close to the end of the shift, but could be like an hour or 2 hours before your shift ends, and be like, I can only do like 3 more bags. Um, if you want me to do more, if you're accepting more customers uh to get the bag personalized, then I'm gonna have to go over time. If you are, I need to know if that's gonna be approved or not. Can I talk to the manager, please? So like, so that communication should be done way earlier, not when it's like you have 10 minutes left.
Seriously,
Mhm.
because they will operate on the assumption that if you're not saying anything, that they can
You're fine.
continue to add to your
You're
queue.
right. Yeah.
And that's just a matter of that's not you being hard to work with. That's just
Mm.
you communicating your boundaries and your timeline, because you can't speed certain things up, and
No.
you know how long a certain thing takes, and it's your job to tell them. They can't assume that for you. In fact, they don't know.
No.
um and so, and a lot of times in their minds they're like, well, that should take like 5 minutes, right? They'll just invent a number, which is not like their fault because they're not an artist, they don't know. So yeah, it's definitely your job to communicate that and in an efficient and clear way,
Yeah.
and not overpromise and be like, oh yeah, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. And then just let them add to the queue. And then by the time you're like 20 minutes after, you realize like, oh, I can't finish 10 more things in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then now you've, instead of solving a problem, you've created one. And that's not good.
Yeah.
And that's going to cause issues because the associate's going to have issues with you. Now you're going to have issues getting that overtime, or maybe it won't be, but
Like it might not be in the budget to have that overtime too, right?
yeah. And at the end of the day, like I have never had an overtime not get paid, but it doesn't mean they paid that happily, right? Like let's say you didn't communicate that overtime properly. You did the work, you got paid, and it's like it might feel like in the moment you're like, whew, like, oh, thank goodness I got paid for that overtime. But like what you don't know in the background is like these people are talking behind your back, like, oh yeah, that was kind of messy. Like, oh, I didn't like how she handled that. And then you just don't know what's happening in the background about that experience that happened. So you just want to like get rid of that possibility for negative reviews, even if it's not ever said or made known to you.
Yeah. And if the overtime is not approved, if the time where you've already communicated that you can't take anymore, and then it's okay to like to decline more, requests, as long as you communicate. Like if they like insist like, oh, just one more please, but if you have someone who's like, okay, one more, but it's just a name, then like super simple design, then it's okay. But like I'm not gonna do like a freaking pet portrait on a perfume if I really have no time. So it's just like you kind of have to have a good judgment, and
it is a judgment call.
judgment call, yeah.
Because going back to like you being well paid, okay, you're doing this job for a lot of money, okay? 2 more names is not gonna kill you. Like do that. That's a judgment call. Like you should stay and do the 2 extra names. It's just a matter of like, I know it's like might be like a matter of principle for some people. It's just like, no, I work until 5:00 p.m. That's it. But there are times these little things that like these sales associates slip in. It's like, please, like I already promised the customer, it's gonna, and you as the artist, it's gonna take you a maximum of like 10 minutes to get 2 things done.
Yeah.
Like, is it really worth leaving a bad impression for? Like, are you okay with the cost of saying no? For that, maybe that's up to you. Personally, I would just like, it's 10 minutes, just get done. Just get done. And then you never know, like that girl, that sales associate might just be like, oh, she saved my life, right? Like,
thank you.
You don't know. And that could be the difference between you getting a good feedback versus not. So yeah. What's the 10 minutes worth to you?
Yeah, it's like I'd rather do that extra 10 minutes and knowing that I'm gonna be rehired, because like I'm being easy to work with, not being like such a mean like, oh my gosh, you say no. Because you know what? Sometimes like these associates, they may not be the people that are hiring you, but they have huge influence on who they like.
Oh my gosh, so much. They serve so much tea.
They do. They have all the tea.
If you're friends with them, it's so important. And if you make enemies with them, oh my God.
Words go around.
They all talk to each other.
Yeah.
They all talk to each other within the company, across companies, all over the city. It's like, it's actually very scary if you think about it. And also, they have high turnaround. They might just go work at the boutique down the street, and now that person's a problem at a different company. Like it's just not worth the risk for me.
I I remember one girl that I worked. I think she was like the beauty advisor or something, like the makeup person of this brand. And she travels all the time. She's like, "Oh, we had a calligrapher before, but like she never really talked to anyone. It's just like she's just like, just on her desk, not like um what do I say? Like just not just like not
Engaging.
engaging with the customer. So it was really awkward. So we stopped doing it. So which is actually the third rehirability factor, which is your professionalism and personality.
So many P's. Proficiency, process,
Yes.
professionalism, personality. It's all the P's.
Qualities.
Yeah, like the impression matters so much. You're professional and you have a personality. Engage with the customers when it's appropriate, when you can. And people are watching. Like you're there for a performance. Remember.
Yeah, it's it's literally an activation for a reason. Like you have to
Listen,
activate that memory, that experience. It's like it's not like if you don't talk, they might as well just get a freaking machine.
yeah. And we don't want that. We don't want robots doing our jobs.
Yeah.
No, seriously, like it's such a thing. And of course, like we've also been on site where we've like seen other artists on site. And you just get to know like there's different personalities that work this job. And that's kind of like what's fun about it, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm an introvert. I truly have to pretend to be a different person on site. And I tell myself like for the next 4 hours, you're an extrovert. You love talking to people. This is who you're gonna be. Right. And that engagement becomes fun. And then I enjoy it while I'm there. And then, other people handle that differently. And maybe they're like really fun to talk to for that 5 minutes that you're sketching them. Or you just like you're really good at making like pals with the sales associates. Like there's something that you can capitalize on and make an impression. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think it's just like for any job, being a nice and respectful person is usually you know, everybody wants that. I think that's it's so important literally in any job, and specifically in this when you're like being kind of like the center of attention where people want to see what you're doing, and that's like it's the basic thing, like um like if they have questions about like what you do or how does the tool work and everything, you want to be polite about it because it's all new to them. It's not new to us. This is thing that we do every day. If people ask you the same questions at every single event, like I'm pretty sure they ask you like where the washroom is or like did you go to art school. It's like you have to answer as if this is the first time.
Yeah, pretty much. Like we talk about it and we joke about it with just us. But when you're facing the customers, that's your job. That's your job to be like, yes, this is watercolor. And yes, you activate it with water. Like you are explaining something that is so elementary to you, but like this is interesting and fun and new for them. They want to know what you're doing. They want to know what's up. So how do you do that? Is that actually a wood burner? Like they have questions.
It's serious.
Have
is
the
that
personality.
A nail
Yeah. You do nails too?
It's the personality. Like, you have to like, they're curious, and the curiosity is good. Like it's not annoying. Like you can't appear annoyed. Like, oh, I can't believe she's asking me that question. Like, no, that's not nice. Like, That's a way to not be hired again.
Yeah. Oh, because you know what? That bathroom question, sales associates get it too, and they answer it. Have you do you
Yeah.
watch them, by the way? Like
Yeah,
when
I
you're
do.
working at a store and you watch the associates, they answer that friggin' washroom question like a pro. They're not
Mhm.
offended. They're not annoyed. They're like, actually, it's down the hall next to the elevator over there. It's They answer that 500 times a day, and
Mm.
you only get it 5 times.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not your place to be a jerk about it.
Yeah.
Be professional. Like they're professional.
Yeah. And sometimes they assume that you're part of the brand, and sometimes they ask you like, "Oh, I want to return this." And you don't say like, "I don't work here." Like it sounds like very kind of condescending when you say it that way.
Yeah.
You can say like, "Let me find someone who can help you with your
Yes, you're like,
question."
I can see what you need. I will get you the help that you need. Like,
Mhm.
you know who works
Mhm.
there. You can handle this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a grown up. You can
Yeah.
figure this out. Yeah, don't be pissed off.
They'll
Don't
be
get
like, "I don't
offended.
work there."
Like, I don't work here. Actually, I don't work here. Okay.
Okay, that helps. Like it's rude. That's actually gonna go back to like, uh, yeah, that could be a complaint that you'd be getting without you knowing. Like you could be the T if you say that. So like be
No.
mindful of what everything that you say, because they really do take notes of
That's
little
what it
things
is.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that client might mean nothing to you, but that client might be very important to somebody
Yeah,
else.
you don't know that,
And like,
right?
it's not your place.
Yeah.
And yeah, oh, yes, you are representing the brand. You're
You're
representing that company. Like that day, for all intents and purposes, you are their employee. So like you have to embody that and
Mhm.
just, represent.
The brand or the company, whatever, or a vendor, like it's your branding too, right? As a your own company, as a freelancer, so important. I think we've covered all those, the P's, like
All the
the
P's.
all the P's.
All the P's in the pad.
So the factors we've talked about, let's talk about like signs of rehirability, like signs that you're rehirable.
Signs that you're doing the job.
Yeah, signs that you're like, yeah, I think I did well. And
Mm-hmm.
this might not be like an overnight thing. You might not know until like maybe a year after or a few months after. But one of the signs is this client who have you worked before, they reach out to you far in advance to book your service. And that usually indicates that they really value your work, and they really want to secure your availability way ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the signs.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
They've learned probably from past go-arounds where you're like, I'm so sorry, I'm already booked. And they're like, I have made notes. Next time I will email her earlier.
Next time, I will book her a year in advance.
Next time I will know better.
It's like,
Yeah, so
oh man, yeah.
that's a good one.
Mhm.
Um, Another sign could be that the client is willing to accommodate your schedule, or they just outright ask you like, what's your availability like in March? Just
Mhm.
like very open ended. Like they want to find out what your schedule is and go with that instead of
Yeah.
giving you
Work.
like, this is the date I want. Are you available? That's a really good sign. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes they even move the date for you. I'm like, okay. Um, Usually Saturdays are the most high demand days, right? Sometimes it's client, if they really like you, I'm like, okay, Thursday's okay. It'll work. We'll
And
work
you're
it
like,
out.
that's fine.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
We'll take it.
We'll do a lot of pre-sales and then have it all sold on like Thursday or something. And
Talisa on a
um,
Thursday is better than no Talisa at all.
I think that's like, it make you feel good. Sometimes like, sometimes I actually had an idea of like one of the clients, like he wanted to be on a Saturday, and I'm like, it's already booked by like this department store. And you know what he did? He actually went to the department store. I'm like, I want her to be for my brand. So like literally switched the booking from that department store to just that brand.
Can we
And I'm
trade, please?
like literally, I'm like, you did that?
That's like a love language.
Love language.
Oh my God. Don't compete for me.
Stop. Oh my God. Stop fighting for me.
Stop fighting over me. It's okay. There's
But
enough for me to go around, just not at the same time. Oh
sometimes
my
it's
God.
just, yeah. That's like a nice feeling. And I'm pretty sure this isn't the only, like, this happens to some of this listeners, like, oh yeah, they like literally change the date for me because that's the only time that I'm available. So like that's definitely a good sign that you are rehirable.
Yeah, for sure. For like one of my best repeat clients, like it does happen, like in the way you just said. It'll be like, oh well, we want something on this weekend and we have a couple of locations. What's your availability like, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm already booked on this day, but I have this day open. And she's like, well, we'll take that one for now, and then I'll talk to you about the rest, right? Like you can tell that they value and prioritize you in their planning.
Yeah.
If they're willing to work with your schedule instead of saying like, all right, well, I'm gonna go find somebody else.
Yeah. Like if worst come to worst, they will ask you like, oh, that sucks, but do you know anybody else? So that's, like that's when, you can refer with your community that you trust. Another indication would be repeat bookings. Like if they book you numerous of times, then that's a clear indication that they really like your work and they want to make sure that you're back because it has maybe an impact on their profitability, on their ROI. So like that's also another indication.
Yeah, for sure. Having you back, it might just encourage sales so much that they're like, oh, we're just gonna create these events for the sake of having you there to do the personalization. And that happens a lot with engraving and painting, right? Like that does make the sale.
Yeah, exactly.
Um
And that works with like
yeah.
if you work with like event planners because you're in the wedding scene too, right? So they could be like telling her their different clients like yeah, like I do know a really good illustrator that you could add to your wedding, and that's considered repeat bookings even though you're having different brides.
For sure. Yeah.
Technically,
I would count that because it's like I live in that wedding planner's binder, right? It's just like this is part of their presentation. Like, oh, these are the examples of things that you can do as like an on-site interaction with your guests. And if that's being shown to multiple people, that's the same thing. Yeah, which leads really well into the next point, which is that a significant number of your leads that come to your door are referrals. So, a client's referred you, a planner's referred you, somebody you've had in contact with in your network has referred you. They know who you are by word of mouth and has given your name to somebody. And if like a good chunk of like Kalisa's, 72%, like a good chunk of your leads are referrals or repeats. You must be doing something right.
But even then, I'm still like trying to improve my work. So. It's a never ending process.
It shouldn't ever end.
Yeah. Another sign would be I mentioned this before that the associates may not have the hiring power, but they have a huge influence. When they specifically ask for you, that's a sign of rehirability. Sometimes they tell you, like we actually specifically ask for you.
They're super proud of that. So
Yeah.
they do tell you.
Yeah.
When you show up, they're like, "Oh, thank God we have you." Like
Yeah.
they will tell you that feedback. People are proud,
Mhm.
with positive feedback. They want like the pat on the back, right? They're
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
"We asked for you. We're so happy we got you back." Like
Yeah.
they want to show you that and they tell you that. And if you're
Yeah.
hearing that, you're doing something right.
Yeah. And you're hearing that repeatedly, you're definitely doing this really well. You're like
For
you're
sure. And like if they really like you, like they go to bat for you, right? They defend you. And this happened to me recently where I went to a store. And my last name is not Chinese. And and I show up and they're like, "Oh yeah, because like we have a new store director, right? And she saw your name and that you're coming in for Chinese calligraphy." And she was like, "Hmm? This is who they're sending to do the job?" And the staff were like, "Yeah, we explained. It was like, don't worry, she's Chinese. She speaks, she writes Chinese. Like they went to bat for me. They defended me without me being there, which is like, thank you.
They defended your honor.
They defended my honor. they, they they made sure that I didn't get fired before I even showed up.
What up?
Like veto. But yeah, if you do a good job, they're on your side. Like,
Mhm.
mhm.
Yeah. It's such a nice feeling. Yeah. So, but again, that comes from all of that proficiency process, good process, and professionalism. Um, all balance, right? All right. So let's talk about rehirability channels, which is different ways of getting hired. Which we kind of touch upon it, but we want to like kind of elaborate on those points again. So yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about something I learned a while back about this concept of referral DNA. That it's like some people are innately wired to refer. And it's kind of like your job to spot those people. And it's kind of like a game.
Yeah.
Because, think of like your closest, family and friends. Like there's always a few people who proactively like tell you recommendations like, "Oh, like I just went to try this restaurant and it's really good. Like I had this," and they proactively tell you their thoughts and reviews and recommendations. Like these
Mhm.
people have what's called referral DNA.
Oh,
And people who you work with, clients, planners, um what was the third one I was gonna say? Planners. Oh, artists, like other artists in your circle. There are people who are like that, who kind of just naturally are like champions of referring business or referring. uh
recommendation.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so like if you can spot those people, um it will help you a lot if you can build genuine, like real relationships with these people, like the staff that that you made like a really good rapport with. Like get to know them more, invite them out
Mhm.
for coffee, like build that connection, because these people will go far for you
Mhm.
if you can
Yeah.
network with them.
Yeah. These, and you know what? And also, just because, like, a person, an associate that you meet now is currently an associate, they could be a manager later in a couple of years. And I've met this before where an associate that I met, and like he basically became like the manager um for a different brand, and he actually was trying really hard to get me into working with him. So he like pitched for me. Like he pitched my service for me. I didn't have to do that. And then he moved into another store and he became a manager, and he did pitch me again. Like it's like we make sure I want to like ask for you whenever we have this. So it's like like have that build that good relationship with these people with that referral DNA, because it makes them feel good. You know how many times every time I see him, he always
Yes.
like, oh, I got her business with X and Y brand. Oh, I got her.
See,
I'm like, it's like they're really proud of it.
this is my point. Like I'm a little bit like that with restaurants. I'm the referral DNA for restaurants. Like if I tell you about a restaurant that I really like and I hear that you went to it, I'm like, oh my God, that's so satisfying, right? It's the
Mhm.
same thing, just like your relationship there. It's like, yeah, I introduced her to this, and then now they have her for that event, and they hired her back here too, and like they feel good doing it.
Yeah,
That gives
even if
that
like
gives them joy.
yeah,
Like
it's like even after I left the company, she's still being hired. Like it's like it's such a nice. They really want to have on, like they want to make them feel like this wouldn't happen without me, kind of thing. I don't know. Yeah, you know.
yeah.
Um,
And it's like it doesn't have to be like a fake thing. You don't have to be weird about like, oh, but like I have to like cultivate this relationship with this stranger or whatever. Like it doesn't have to be weird. Just keep in touch, you
yeah.
know? Just like a just stay in their orbit.
Hmm.
Like be visible. And that sometimes is enough.
Hmm.
Um I was gonna tell a story um about recently. I got this job through a referral. This person I met at an event, and I drew her illustration on site.
Hmm.
And we spent a total of like 5 minutes
Hmm.
just chatting while she was getting drawn. And I remembered her outfit really well. And I remember that we had a really nice chat. She's like a local media personality. She's a very skilled photographer. And we were just like having a really nice like rapport, and she was really appreciating the art, and it was just really nice. And then 5 minutes went by, she took her art and she's like, thank you so much, Isabel. It's really nice to meet you. She scanned my code. She kept my contact. She followed
Following.
me. And then it was 8 months later, I never talked to her, right? And then out of the blue, she sends me a voice message, which I initially thought like, oh dear, like this is meant for somebody else. Like obviously we are not like voice memo level friends, right? And so, like, no expectations. I listened to her voice message and it was entirely meant for me. And she just literally dropped this 1 minute thing letting me know, like, hey, my friend just introduced her to you because she's in need of a project that needs to be done, like, really rush. But you were just the first person that came to mind. And I just said, like, she's super talented. And I don't know if she even does this sort of thing, but I just know that she can probably pull it off, right? And she just had like so much faith in me, just off that like one experience, that one drawing I made her, and that exchange that we had that day, to refer me this job, and it ended up closing, and I ended up doing the job within like a few days because it was really rushed. But now it's like that door has opened for me, and I don't know how many more doors that'll open, right?
Right?
Like uh, it's like totally priceless to have nailed that, and now I know that this person has referral DNA.
It, I mean, she's an influencer for like a reason.
I mean,
And then
that's
like,
true.
and she believes in you. And then like, I think that's such a good feeling. That's like, it's like, yeah, yeah, you have the rehirability DNA too. So,
But yeah,
and
like we just learned that word of mouth marketing is so much stronger than any kind of pitching or outreach or website CEO or social media, like any form of marketing that's just you doing the output. um, Word of mouth travels at an exponential speed, doing all this work for you in the background. You're doing none of it, and what you've already done in the past is spreading the word for you.
Mhm.
And it is such a strong likelihood of you getting the job when it's a referral than just like a fresh lead that comes with nothing.
Yeah, I mean, imagine comparing the job that you receive with for the illustration. The the trust that she would have having her friend, is her friend to recommend you, who she's known your work already, she's seen your Instagram, she's seen your portfolio, versus having to find someone on a website where they're not sure how they are. They're just not. There's no like relationship at all. Like it's just there's just more trust. That word of mouth is just like it just has a lot more trust than you know than having to find someone
Yeah,
on
because it's
website.
just like it's implied, right? Like
Yeah,
you trust this person, so whatever this person says, you're gonna trust. It's
yeah,
just that simple. Um, and that goes back to like showing your genuine personality and being like showing your authentic self when you're doing these things.
yeah.
Because yeah, like in that 5 minute, I keep thinking about that. I'm like, in those 5 minutes, I remember having like a good conversation about art in general. We probably talked about like my upbringing um, and how I started drawing and painting when I was a kid, like all that stuff. And it just like it showed just enough of a window of personality that she even said in her voice message, she's like, I know that we aren't friends, but I have a feeling that you're a good person. Like
Oh,
I feel like you guys would really get along. Um, when she introduced me to her friend, who is another fellow business owner and a very big business owner at that. And that's like that kind of trust and like implication is huge.
huge. Yeah,
And this
and
person will not have met me except for having a phone call with me. And then in those like 30 minutes or whatever that we talked, it's like you also, this is your interview, right?
yeah,
You're also making that impression. And then that's already building on top of the like trust that's already built from the referral. Then it's
yeah.
like it's an easy go.
Yeah. Listen, like in this industry, there were as a live event artist and many of other industry too. It's really all about who knows you versus, you
Who
know,
you know?
who you know. Like that's really it. Like, so if you made that impression from one job, it's because someone knows you. You may not remember, you draw like what 50 drawings per event. Like, how can you remember everybody? But they know you. You don't know them, and
Mhm.
that one job can lead to so many other jobs without. And then, sorry, one job can lead to so many, but without the adequate skills, the process, and your professionalism, it could be the end of many.
Yeah. It's just the dead end.
It's a dead
If
end. So
you
like,
if you edge your way into a budget and finally somebody fits you somewhere and then you show up and you aren't providing something that's exceptional, something that's like whoa, like we have to get her back, or like enough to make an impression, or even worse, if you make a bad impression,
mhm.
um, then instead of people referring you and talking positively about you behind your back, they can be working completely against you. They're like,
Mhm.
oh, stay away from that artist. Like, she's
Yeah,
rude or she's not good at this or whatever.
like
Like, and we've all heard that.
I've
That
heard all of that. Yeah.
that happens all the time. People dish all the time on other artists and is ugly out there sometimes. It's like,
It's people
oh yeah.
talk.
People talk. It's like, oh, do you know this person? Oh yeah, her Chinese isn't very good, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like they talk about you freely, and you can't afford to do that.
Yeah. And that brings us to our actionable advice, things that you can do to be rehirable.
Mhm. Okay, what's our first point? Oh yes, of course. It
Of
is
course.
always the skills.
Yeah.
Um Yeah, constantly improving. You know, like uh, I think you and I were just talking about this like yesterday, where we are still maybe like timid on posting certain portfolios because it's like, well, we're not skilled in that yet. Just because like you know what we put out to the world, we obviously show our most expert side, right? But on the backside, like there's always something we're working on.
Oh yeah.
We're always improving something or another, and we're like, oh, I want to try this new process, or I want to try this new skill, or I really want to nail down this new way of doing illustrations, or like we're always working on something.
Oh yeah, always.
People might not know about it, but we're always working on it. And you know, I'm just like, oh, I finally posted a new page on like my commercial portfolio, and I'm like, I'm shy about it. But it's like we're working on it.
Yeah.
You know,
Always.
we're never gonna be like the like final stage of something where like there's no room for improvement. Like
I think I want to mention about like the idea of improving your work, because sometimes when you see your work, your eyes may not be trained enough to know what needs to be fixed. I had this like reflection when I was looking back on my Instagram in like 2018. I thought I did something good. I thought I produced quality work. But now that my eyes are like a lot more trained and I'm like, wow, that looked really, really ugly. I don't know why I was so proud of it. And again, that comes from like being like your eyes are being trained. So it's really not just like your fingers and your hand being able to draw or like doing calligraphy. It's being trained by your eyes. So like there's always ways to improve. Even if you think it's good, I honestly personally think that I still need to improve my work. I don't think it's perfect. I'm still taking a lot of courses, even though like, you know, doing art for like so many years. There's always ways to improve. The reason why there's always ways to improve because we always want to produce quality work within a short period of time. And that like take years and years of practice and intuition that doesn't happen overnight. And for that, like it's like I'll give you an example, like you know, like knowing how to draw fast, that doesn't I didn't know how to do that at all for a long time. Like we could produce, like you and I, we could produce like a hyper realistic painting. And
like something we spend hours on.
Yeah, because you're allowed to like rework and rework and rework and rework on like like a detail, right? But when you're in a on-site doing like a live sketch, you only got one time, one opportunity. Like, sorry.
I mean, that was so good.
You only
we need to add the
you got one time.
Please, yes. Okay. Yeah, like one shot,
one opportunity to like
one chance to shine. Oh my god.
to create a full body figure illustration. That's not easy at all.
No.
To like know what details to take out and everything. I mean, you guys can like listen to like our episodes on wedding guest illustration and illustration itself. Like it's not hard to like your hand just like know. It's not just like your hand knows how to like, you know, create the lines and make it make sense proportionate, but also like being able to see your model, not even your model, the person that you're drawing who does not know how to pose. We're not expecting them to like to pose like a model. Like, you know, when you're practicing on like drawing models and they know how to pose. But when you're practicing on a human like normal person like you and I, it's like it's a completely different feeling. Like, you know, it's a completely different challenge. Like, how can you make that drawing more energetic and like more like nicer and like, but like those kind of stuff, like it's not an overnight process. It takes a long time. Like just because you can produce a hyper realistic work, it's not transferable to live sketch like immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Like
immediate.
it's not a natural thing, by the
It's
way.
not.
It's like
Yeah.
nobody grows up like oh, I'm gonna like draw this flower, I'm gonna draw this plant, or I'm gonna draw this cup. And nobody's like, can I do it in 30 seconds? That's not just like not a natural thing for like for people to try to do as a first step. And it shouldn't be like that for a reason.
Yeah.
Because when you're training your eye, your hand-eye coordination, when you're training that, you are doing it slow. So like, oh, this oval part is about twice the length of this height, and you're trying to study all these shapes to get it right. And then like trying to sketch it fast is like now we're trying to be looser on the realism, but now how do I make it fun? How do I make it interesting? And that's like a whole other assignment in itself.
That's a whole other experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Bad.
And having like style and like having it look easy, that's like that's a long time of doing it and confidently and correctly for even parts of you to shine, to be like, oh, like maybe I'm getting a style out of this. Like a personal style is not just something you like. It's not like bam, like here it is. You have to do the work to get there, to be like, oh, I think I tend to do this, and I think I'm like discovering my style. That's what it should feel like. And that's a natural process that you're gonna work through to get to. But you just can't rush it, because it's just never gonna look right if you focus on the wrong things. And I know we're like delving really deep into illustration right now, but like but nowadays, like I get a lot of people in messages, or friends, or just like, you know, people asking me for advice, or just like discussing this topic of practicing illustration and whatnot. And it's kind of like we, like, as beginners, we tend to focus on the wrong things. Right? It's just like, oh, I really think like this part is not good, or like this one thing is like, oh, I'm finding a lot of trouble with that. And I can tell you like 10 out of 10 times you're doing the wrong thing. Like you're focusing on the wrong thing as the first step. It's like, right now, just get the body down. Just get a straight standing pose down. Like get the head, shoulder, leg ratio even right. Like none of the other things you think you must be caring about right now matters until you can get this first part right. And it does go in succession like that. And then, you know, back to our point about like wowing on the spot, wowing on site. It's like, if you can do all this like hard work now, you will reap the rewards of that later, when you can show up on site, earn the proper market rate, and do like an amazing job. That one job could lead to 10 jobs, rather than right now you feel like you're like rushing, you're trying to get into the market, you're trying to get this like up and running. And then, so what if you get a job or two or three? If those three things don't ever pan out to other jobs, it's a dead end for you. If you rush to like get that done, it's like 2025 may have like gotten you lucky in some spots. It's like, we needed to go further than that. So you need to like show up with that like exceptional skill, and then it's going to create way more opportunities for you down the road. That was a really long ramble, but
no, it's good. Like I wanted to touch upon like the, you know, not knowing the right, you know, focusing on the wrong thing. And I noticed this, that like when someone wants to like learn, like try to do illustration, like they jump into rendering.
Mhm.
um that's the term for coloring in the figure. And I'm like, just assuming some Copic markers will somehow like magically make the drawing even better, like better.
Mhm. Mhm. Like
Like
focusing on the tools. Yeah, like
that's
what tools are you using? What markers? What brand? Um,
that
like
doesn't matter. Like I think like you need to master sketching with pencil first, as simple as pencil first. Master
Mhm.
that first, and then you know think about the rendering later when you've mastered your drawing, like your proportion and like knowing where to add shading and whatnot. Like that, like any professional, just because professional illustrators are using Copic markers, it that's not what makes it good. Like like they can use a cheap Amazon like brand, they could still produce really good work. So like
Mhm.
my tools don't make it or break it. Like I'm still like, and then like like trying, once you have figured out that mastering that pencil, and then you're going to start experimenting, and then you'll know how to like streamline your process with sketching, which part do you want to use for sketching, which the drafting, or which part you want to do the outline, and like what medium you want to use. Like, is it watercolor, gouache, Copic markers? I don't know. Those are the
Those are
whole
your
thing. Like,
personal
yeah,
preferences
and
when
you're
you've
yeah,
experimented.
when you
Yeah.
do that, you're not gonna ask someone like, what tools are you using, like what's best. No, because you're gonna know what works best for you after
Mhm.
all that experiment. um
Yeah. And it should be fun.
yeah, this is the fun part.
Like, you should want to buy certain tools. Like, you don't have to invest big money into
Yeah.
all of the tools, but you should try a good number of them and then be like, oh, I think I like this better. Oh, I think
Yeah.
I'm better with that. And you're gonna land on your own personal preferences, and that should be more interesting than asking like, hey, what do you use? Oh, I'm gonna buy the same thing. And then that's the only thing you ever use. Like
Hmm.
that isn't the right way to go about it either. Um, if you're really interested in the long run.
Yeah. Start from
That's that's the bottom line is, the whole point of this episode is sustainability and like making it into a career and not just like a cute thing you did for 2 years,
yeah.
you know? And I'm assuming if you're interested in listening is that you do want to build this into a realistic
In
career.
Yeah.
Um, and we're telling you the answers.
And like we're literally spilling everything for free.
Yeah, the answer is
Yes.
in fact hard work first, and
Mhm.
then it gets easier and easier as jobs come to you. And I think like the honest truth here is that we showcase a lot of our jobs now and it looks easy, right? Like,
Mhm.
you and me and a bunch of like lots of established artists who are doing this already. It looks easy. It looks like, oh, we're just signing clients left and right. We're doing nothing and we're just getting all these things our way, like la di da. Things are so peachy, things are so easy. But yeah, that's what we chose to show. We're not showing the struggles of
If you could see, I don't
as
if
she
you're on
points to her
if you're on YouTube,
workstation.
if you see my YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, behind me there's like the drawer. Those are my experiment drawer. That's not it. It's all full stack of like experiment. And those are the stuff that I never share. Like
Yeah.
I shared a few, but like like there are some ugly drawings in there.
Yeah, and we're trying not to show ugly drawings, by the way.
Yeah.
So, like,
No one
um,
does. Yeah.
yeah, I like you. We put in so much practice hours that have a lot of embarrassing stuff in there. Okay,
Mhm.
but we just don't showcase it, because
Mhm.
for us, like, Instagram is quite a professional platform
It's
for
very
us. And
curated. Yeah.
so at this point, it's like I'm not showing, at least not the like ugly practice, the experimental practice,
Mhm.
um or just the like, I wonder if I did this um practice. But you just get to see bits and pieces of it that we really choose, and the long road that it's taken to get here. It's not been like easy.
Mhm.
It's just, now that we're here, we're showing this. And if you are in a different stage and you're seeing this now, I understand. Like, I really empathize with the fact that, like, newcomers looking at the industry might be like, oh, is it too late? Is there room for me? How can I survive when there's all these like amazing people out there already? Like, I need to get ready fast. I need to get it down in like 3 months. I need to get this tool, and then I need to like start pitching. I need to start like putting a portfolio together. I need to start getting in people's DMs. Like, you first and foremost like have to worry um about your skills and about your work, and then everything. I promise, like, this is just like my genuine plea into the world. I promise, if you do the hard work first, it's so much easier down the road. And then I
Yeah.
promise you won't have to do any of that work later, you know?
It's well proven by our experiences. Promise you, the hard work is going to be worth it. If you focus, if you focus on the skills first before
Mm-hmm.
marketing, before thinking about marketing, before thinking about like the business side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
And
where, yep, go ahead.
speaking of the business, uh, the having a good system is also really good, which we had a episode on the CRM on the second season, so check it out if you haven't.
Yeah. And that's definitely like and we mentioned it on the on the CRM episode already. It's just like, it's a nice to have. It's not a must have,
Yeah.
especially in the beginning stages. Um, once once you've like gotten your feet wet, you've like had some on-site experience. Now it's like streamlining that process. Um, and again, we are also not perfect at our CRM. we
Oh
are
no,
also
I
we're
have
also
not.
constantly improving this.
Yeah, it's now you see like how like it's being a freelancer. It's like you're wearing literally 17 hats.
I wish we didn't sound like a sponsorship all the time, but that's what it
Yeah,
sounds like.
we've but
Often I'm
we've converted Michelle to using 17 hats.
sucker. With my like sketchy ass referral code. It's like PQRRPKQ. Like, it's so weird. Um, but yeah, like there are times when like my husband comes downstairs from his home office, and then he'll see me with my like multiple screens open, and then he'll like be like really cheesy, and he'd be like, which one of your 17 hats are you wearing now? And I'd be like, the marketing hat. I'm updating my website. Like,
Yeah.
it's true. Like, we only have so much time in a day. And we just improve things like this a little bit, that a little bit, and we just have to juggle.
Yeah. There's always
Mm.
something to improve every single week, every single day.
Yeah.
If not at the most every single week, there's something to improve. So the last actionable advice is from the visibility, basically your portfolio. And we still do believe that Instagram is the best place to present your work, other than your website. This is still where everybody, like a lot of clients, find their artists, um, on top of Google search. The Instagram is like so important. So like I would say the first 9 posts should be the one that showcase your best recent work of the service that you want to be hired for. So don't post like practice stuff. That can stay in the story. Okay.
Mhm.
But you want to have like stuff that as if you're hired. Um even but since we're in the episode of rehirability, I'm assuming a lot of you are already in this, working on site. So you want to make sure that's still your best. So it doesn't mean that you're posting it every single day, but at least the first 9 should be like your best recent work.
Yes, like ready to hire work.
Mhm.
Because I will make a distinction. Like it's okay to post practice stuff if that practice is polished. That was a lot of P's. Post your polished practice.
Like as if you're hired. Even that practice is like
Yeah.
like as if you were hired to do this, but not like in a way it's manipulating, like, oh, like you look like you work for this brand, but it just look like it's like something that you're proud of, like something that, like, when I'm talking about practice, I mean like a drafting stuff.
Mhm.
Like clients don't need to see that. Like
And one thing I'll say is, like, you know how we get like a weird like tunnel vision with social media where, like, you and I hang out in a lot of artist circles. We're following a lot of the same people and we're seeing their content over and over, day and day, every single day. But your clients, they are not in the same like circle. They're just today out of some random point in time landing on your page, and the first thing they're going to see your stories. If it's live in that 24-hour period, that's their first impression they have of you, is opening that story. And do you want them to open a story on like something I don't know, that has like either nothing related to art, or like showcasing like maybe some embarrassing part of your day, or like just some like funny jokey thing that has like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not that like every single thing you show has to be like, you have to remember that could be your very first impression, because they're just landing here for the first time and they're like, oh, like we don't want that face when they land on your page for the first time. It's just like, what did she bring on site? Like, like we just
what did she engrave? Like,
we don't need. Yeah, we want to like show the best part of ourselves, of course, and just treat it like a portfolio. And of course, you can inject personality. We're not saying be a robot, but like professional.
Yeah, keep it professional, but like, you can be human and show your branding and whatnot, but like,
don't air too much stuff out.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes
keep that in your close group friends. You really need to air it out. Pick your close group friends.
We have tools for that. You can absolutely rant about stuff, and like, like the stuff I put in close friends, like, it's not aesthetic. The captions are like super ugly. I'm just saying a thing, and then like sometimes I know we just need to get stuff off our chest, and that's okay. Like, there's tools for that.
Yeah, I think when you're doing so many of these things, people start following you, and associates start following you, and managers, and some people you don't even know that they're actually like, in the high power of like, in the high position of whatever brands or corporate they're using their private account. You don't know who.
Yeah, you don't know who it is,
and they are like, watching your stories.
They're freaking watching.
Yeah.
Like, cat lady 312. That person is important. You don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. You can share something that's like a good memorable, that like they can just think, oh yeah, this artist also like cats, or like also love dogs, or like, like they also love doing a dog portrait. So like they'll remember you, but make sure that the majority, it's about your work, like about like maybe your process or maybe about your practice, or maybe like these are just stories though, but like but for posts, just make sure that's a polish stuff that
For
has to,
sure.
because like a lot of times they're like, oh, let me look at like, you know, like some like you're doing your work, say for example, like you're doing an event, and then another manager want to see like, oh, can I see your, is that your Instagram? Okay, like let me just like look at your Instagram, like, oh my god, oh, you do this, and they're only like looking at the first grids, and then so you want to make sure that first ones are like, oh, so you do this, oh, you do that, and okay, like I'll make a I'll make a note, and then they'll might send it to the HQ, like,
Yeah.
you don't know where it's gonna
That's it.
go.
You just don't. Oh, yeah. The other day I was at a store, and one of the sales staff there, he was like, "Oh my God, like I've seen you work a lot of weddings last year." I was like, "What? I didn't know you followed me, first of all."
Yeah, that happens so many
Um,
times.
so often you
Yeah.
aren't aware of it. And then he's like, yeah, and like it's funny because I think we must have like a lot of overlaps in our like first and second degrees of friends, where he's like, yeah, I sometimes see your work through my friends' Instagrams when they're like posting your drawings at other weddings that they like.
Mhm.
It's not just the person who follows you, it's the person they follow who follows you. Like
Yeah.
it's all this like circle you're not aware of. And um God, like you just, and if that person remembers you well enough to like keep track, it's like, am I really
You
gonna
make a
post
mental
a
note.
story about like me
Yeah.
picking up my dog's poo? Like maybe
Yes.
not. Like
Yeah, that's not what you don't want to like um pollute your content with stuff that like has
doesn't
nothing to do
matter.
with your art. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just think about that. Yeah. So yeah, I think we pretty much cover everything that you need to know about rehirability. I hope this is very, very helpful. This has been like really jam-packed with a lot of information. Please share it to your friends. Who know, like just tell with your artist friends, anyone. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram if you haven't, and rate.
Oh, and rate us.
Yeah, rate
Yes.
us,
And
please. Rate our pod.
on
Either on,
Apple and
yeah,
on
and
Spotify.
Spotify and YouTube. Those
Oh
are the
yeah, and
only places
YouTube.
that we're in. Yeah.
Well, YouTube, you have to subscribe.
Yeah. 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 Tell your friends.
Um, yeah, I hope it's been helpful. I mean, we are like very passionate about the topics,
Mhm.
so we don't ever want it to come off the wrong way, and we just want to be informative. So
Yes. And we are being super honest about everything because we've been doing this for a while and we've heard so many stories. We've heard so many things. We've heard a lot of teas being spilled and we just want to hear it. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, hopefully you learned something new today, and we'll see you next time. Bye.